Hi, it's Stephen here from Sound of an Ocean Wave, and this is day 16 of the January daily draws. So as we close out the weekend and approaching the week, let's see what kind of message we're going to get. I'll be taking the first card from the Star Tarot, followed by an Oracle card from the Sacred Spirit of Reading cards. So let's choose our first card and get the reading underway. Here we go. We'll go there. And our card today is Justice again. We've had this recently. So, this is about this objectivity again, isn't it, that we had before? And making fair judgments and assessments and decisions about things. Being careful to weigh up the facts before making a decision. Not being too swayed by our emotions, but letting the rational facts and truths of the situation bring some light to the situation that we're feeling maybe emotional about, so that we can respond not just out of emotion, but out of truth, out of integrity, out of fairness. And I think when we had this card before, I said that this scales being of both equal balance here is not necessarily, that's not necessarily the end result that we're looking for when we're assessing things, that both sides of the argument have equal value. Sometimes they may, but more often than not, you're going to come down on one side or another after you place the facts and the truths of the situation in the appropriate side. And maybe one will be more weightier and carry more weight and more merit than the other. Okay, but the idea is you start with a balanced scale. Okay, you with a fair scale, a true scale. It's not weighted unfairly in any way, in any particular favoring any one side. We're not tipping the scales unjustly from the beginning. I meant to, there's a term for that. I meant to look it up because I still can't remember what it's called. This is where the scales are not true, where there's some jiggery-pokery going on, and the scales are weighted from the beginning in a certain so like in someone's favor. You're trying to fix the outcome before you start. But what true justice is that everybody starts. The situation starts with the pros and cons being empty and level. The two parties in a court case will start on equal footing, no matter who they are and what the differences between the people are. It's the situation, it's the judgment of the case that you're doing, and everybody is equal in the eyes of the law. That's what true justice is to me, and that's your starting position. You got to start on on the right footing of how you're approaching it. That's called objectivity. Emotionally, you may be biased towards one particular side or the other, and that's why, because of the way it's making you feel. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural response, but that's why we need the truth, the facts of the situation, and be able to stand back from our feelings a little and assess the situation objectively, so that we're not putting that bias onto the scale before we start. Okay, we need to remove that a little bit so that we can balance the scales before we start. Then we can try and objectively put in, well, what is the situation really about? What has been done? What has been said? How do I? And then when you've done that, well, what is this weighing up of the facts, of the evidence, of the situation? What does that objectively tell me about the situation and about how I should respond? And I think what this card is saying is that don't rush to a rash judgment out of your feelings, because your feelings have been stirred, and don't give a reactionary response without pausing, standing back, trying to gain some objectivity. And if you can't gain it within yourself by taking a step back inwardly, from taking some of the feelings out, I know that's hard to do, maybe talking to somebody that you trust, that is good at having an objective viewpoint, that doesn't have an emotional connection to the situation, there's not going to be swayed one way or the other. Although, if they like you as a person and they don't know the other person, if it's a relationship issue, then maybe they may still sway a bit more to your favor because they know you and they like you. And it's not that they dislike the other person, it's just they may not know the other person enough to be able to do that. So this is where objectivity can be a bit tricky, because it's hard to stand away and just look at the facts, because feelings do come into it, and that's okay. But as much as possible, we need to objectively assess things. As I say, talk with people that may gain some objectivity and help you to see things a bit more from another perspective, to see what the situation might be. So what this card is saying is, don't rush to judgment, but take time to assess the situation fairly and justly before reacting and responding. Okay? And it may be that, particularly if you're observing a situation and you've seen something, and sometimes people that like dislike injustices and everything, and you perceive that to be the case, but it may not be. And if it doesn't directly involve you, maybe if the objectivity will just tell you that you still don't know enough, this is not for you to respond to. We don't have to respond to every situation. So we need to weigh that up as to decide what kind of response we should make, if we should indeed make a response. So let's see what oracle card we get to go with that. And we go there, and we have Ascended Masters. Ascended Masters, that could be Ascended Masters that get a higher level of knowledge, gain more knowledge, gain more facts, go to those that maybe have a little bit more objectivity than you. But the phrase on here, create open communication, and maybe that is the whole point. Maybe you need to communicate because it may just be from a misunderstanding, and communication, clearer communication, may inform you that actually the situation is not what you thought it was, and that gives you the new facts, because the facts that you have at the moment may not be enough to make the decision. Now, I think I mentioned that a moment ago, and maybe clear communication about the situation realizes that you didn't understand everything that was going on, and it's a totally different situation to what you thought it was, and thereby your appropriate reaction to it is going to be different. So open up the communication, gain that objectivity, and respond if you need to respond. Okay, so that's today's message. I'll be back tomorrow as we start a new week with day 17. Until then, thank you for listening. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon. Okay, bye-bye.